Hey, what up, guys? So coming to you this morning, gonna do another top 10 this morning, busting out with the 140-pound junior welterweights. Um, this division right now has the World Boxing Super Series going on in it, so that they're currently in the semifinals. So just a heads up on that, so you can pay attention for it. And yeah, let's break into it. We start with the outs from the beginning of the year. Any guys that are out of the top 10 that were originally in my top 10. So we start with former three division world champion Jorge Linares, who was number one coming into the year at this division because of what he's accomplished. He fought for his second time at 140 against former interim champion Pablo Cesar Cano, and surprisingly got destroyed and TKO'd in one round back in January. A lot of this had to do with he's just too small for 140. I think you could see that Cano, who's a good fighter and a fighter he's solid, but he's a guy who's fought all the way up at 147 before, and he's a tough guy, and he just looked so much bigger than Linares, and he just walked right through him. Whatever Linares tried to do early just wasn't enough. He got caught, he got hurt, and it was just, it was over. It was over pretty quick. So, tough loss for him, but he did say he's going to move back down to 135, his more natural weight. So that's good. So he's out of the top 10. Also out is Javier Fortuna, former 130-pound champ. I saw this coming. He was previously tied for ninth. He moved back down to 135 finally and got a win there. So I ranked him back at 135. He really shouldn't have been ranked at 140. Last year was kind of an anomaly. Came in overweight. Missed out on a title shot against Robert Easter. He still fought him, but it wasn't for the title. And then second fight, he fought Adrian Granados at 140. So everybody pretty much knew he was moving back down to 135. I think he'll be in line for possibly the winner of Rances Barthelemy and Robert Easter Jr. He's got options at this weight, so we'll see what he does. But back down to his normal weight of 135. And then the last guy is former world title challenger Antonio Orozco is out of the top 10. He was also tied for ninth. Hasn't done anything so far. He just got bumped out because of other guys coming in. So no big deal. But he's out of the top 10. Well, hopefully he gets busy and gets active following the loss to Jose Ramirez back in September, because it's been over 6 months now since he's fought. And now we break into our top 10. We start with number 10, undefeated IBF champion Ivan Barianchek. This guy, it looks like May 18th he is good to go to defend his title against undefeated Josh Taylor in Taylor's home country of Scotland. But I haven't heard that this fight is 100% official yet for the World Boxing Super Series semifinals, because Ivan Barianchek stated that he was out of the tournament, and then the next day the tournament announced this fight. Now, his manager has said that it's not 100% on, but they are working with the World Boxing Super Series. They're waiting to get paid for their last fight, and then they will make it official. They still have it slated. It looks like it's going to happen. I hope it happens. May 18th on DAZN from Scotland. So hopefully Barianchek gets in there. Personally, if the fight goes on, I think Josh Taylor's going to win a decision, possibly stop him in the late rounds. But you never know. This guy is a damn bull. He walked right through his quarterfinal opponent, and I'm really looking forward to the semifinal against Taylor. So we'll see. Next at number 9 is former world title challenger Jose Zepeda. He previously wasn't ranked. He got a title shot against Jose Ramirez in February for the WBC belt, and I predicted that I thought the fight was going to be a good one, and it was. First half of the fight, he was outboxing, outworking Ramirez and winning, but Ramirez is a bigger guy and kept pressing forward, and it ended up being a close majority decision. And because it was so close, I had to rank Zepeda in, because he kind of came out of nowhere. He hasn't been very active the last couple of years. He kind of came out of nowhere. He's only got one loss prior to Ramirez, and he put on a good show against the current undefeated world champ. So, so I ranked him at number 9 coming in. Next at number 8 is former 2-division world champion Rances Barthelemy. Barthelemy, I just found out, is going to be fighting at the end of April here for the vacant WBA regular world title when he takes on former champ Robert Easter Jr. Big time fight for Barthelemy right here. They rumored at the beginning of March to have this fight going on. It finally got made official even after I wrote out my top 10s, and I'm looking forward to it. I think Barthelemi's got a chance because he's coming down from 140, but personally, I think Robert Easter's going to beat him in this fight. But if he wins, it'd be a big win for him, possibly the biggest of his career, and he really could land a couple big fights out of it. So we'll see what happens. April 27th, main event of a triple header on Showtime. Barthelemy versus Robert Easter should be good. Next at number 7 is Pablo Cesar Cano. He wasn't ranked coming into the year. He wasn't ranked coming into this year. He came out of nowhere in January and destroyed Jorge Linares, as we talked about. 1 round, TKO'd him. I think he's the WBC's #1 contender because they called that fight an eliminator going in, but I think the WBC hasn't really said anything because I think people thought that it was a layup for Linares to win and fight Ramirez for the title next, but that didn't happen. Cano destroyed Linares, so I think Cano's going to get an eventual title shot, and I hope he does. Right now, I think he's going to be coming back and just taking on something else, but we'll see what happens. I like him a lot. Should be a good fight. Congrats. It's kind of a career kind of win. Rocky kind of story. Big time win, so we'll see what he does going forward. Next is a 2-way tie for 5th. We start with undefeated WBO champion Maurice Hooker. He previously was number 6, and I'm looking forward to seeing what he does next. He returned in March, took on some nobody, Mikel Lespierre, got a dominating one-sided unanimous decision. There was talks about him possibly facing Linares. Linares lost. There was talks about him possibly facing former champ Chris Algieri, but Algieri looked like shit in his fight against some nobody back in January. So we'll see. We'll see what Eddie Hearn can get in front of him. But I really hope for a big fight because Hooker, I think, is very talented, and I think he could be at the top of the division. He just got to get the opponents. So we'll see. Next, and tied with him for 5th, is the undefeated WBC champion, Jose Ramirez. Ramirez came in ranked 7th, so he moves up a couple spots here. He defended his title in February against Jose Cepeda and got a hard-fought 12-round majority decision in that one. He's working hard. There's a lot, that was a tough fight for him, but he got through it and retained his world title. He wants a big fight next. Well, from what I'm hearing, though, is he's probably going to get former champ Ray Beltran in his next fight, which I like that matchup. I think that's a slugfest. Beltran made his debut at 140, got a win. Actually, he should be ranked at 140. I think I missed him. That was a nice win for him, and we're going to see what he does going forward. I really like Jose Ramirez's style, though. Not sure he's going to beat everybody in the division, but he's got a tough Mexican style. He fights right out of Fresno, and I'm looking forward to seeing what he does next. And speaking of Ray Beltran, I'm going to sneak one in and say he should probably be tied for 9th right now, something like that, or even 10th, and should be in here. He made his debut in February at 140, moved from lightweight, and got an impressive 9th round TKO in that one over a Japanese contender. So, good win for Beltran. Congrats, and he's probably going to get Jose Ramirez for a world title next. We'll see what happens. Next at number 4 is WBA champion Kira Relic. He moves up 1 spot from number 5. I'm a big fan of Relic, and he got his World Boxing Super Series semifinal finally confirmed. He's returning April 27th in the main event of a DAZN card when he defends his title against undefeated Regis Prograis. Prograis an interim champ right now for the WBC. He's also the tournament's #1 seed. This is a big fight for Relic. He's coming in the underdog. I personally, I think he's going to lose the fight to Prograis by either a TKO or a unanimous decision. But, Prograis fighting at home. He's got all the pressure on him. I think Relic is going into this fight kind of the rough underdog with nothing to lose. And I wouldn't be surprised if he pulled off an upset. But I don't think he's going to hold on to his belt. But let's see how he looks in that fight. I think he could definitely turn some heads and prove that he's a legitimate world-class fighter, which he already has because he's ranked number 4. So we'll see. But that's April 27th on DAZN against Regis Prograis in the World Boxing Super Series semifinals. Next at number 3 is former WBC champ Victor Pastal. Pastal was the alternate for the World Boxing Super Series, but I guess he is not the alternate anymore because he's going to be returning in an eliminator against some guy named Mohamed Modaji or something like that. But he's returning against him in an eliminator April 27th on Showtime. on the Robert Easter, Rances Barthelemy undercard. So, big time fight right there for him. Gonna be a good one. Postal is older, and he's got to prove in this fight that he's game and legit by dominating his opponent and getting in line for another world title. So good luck to him. I think he's going to get a decision win there and move forward as and hopefully a title shot later in the year. Next at number 2 is undefeated top contender Josh Taylor. He was previously number 2, so he stays there. He's undefeated. He's currently the WBC's number 1 ranked contender, but his World Boxing Super Series semifinal against Ivan Baranchyk is happening most likely May 18th on DAZN. In the main event, he's fighting from Scotland. It should be good. We're just waiting for confirmation from Baranchyk because he originally pulled out of the tournament and then the fight got announced. They're working with the World Boxing Super Series to try to get the fight done. I personally think it's going to get done, and I think Taylor's going to win this fight by a decision, possibly a late stoppage, and capture his first world title and punch his ticket to the finals of the World Boxing Super Series later in the year. So it should be good. That's May 18th on DAZN for the IBF world title. And then finally, finishing the first quarter, number 1 is the undefeated WBC interim champion, Regis Prograis. This guy is entertaining as fuck, guys. You got to watch him. He hits hard. He can box a little bit. He's flashy, and he's the tournament's number 1 seed for the World Boxing Super Series. He is going to be squaring off in the semifinals against Kiro Relic on April 27th in the main event of a DAZN card, and he's fighting at home again, trying to do that. I think Prograis is going to win this fight by a late stoppage, possibly even middle rounds. I wouldn't be surprised if Relic took it to a decision, though, because Relic's a tough son of a bitch, and we'll see what happens. But definitely, I think he's going to win his first world title here and punch his ticket for the semifinal and against Josh Taylor, who I think is going to be, and that's going to be exciting right there. So that's April 27th on DAZN, Prograis versus Relic, WBA Junior Welterweight World Title. All right, guys, that's it. I know 140 is not a big division that a lot of people pay attention to right now, a lot of big names. But guys like Jose Ramirez, Regis Prograis, Josh Taylor, these are budding stars right now that are undefeated. Even Maurice Hooker. Watch these guys fight. They're good. They're talented. Once the Super Series is over, you're going to see a lot of these guys fighting each other. I don't think there's going to be a big dispute between the brands, the promoters. So we'll see what goes down. All right, guys. True Boxing. Been here with the truth.